Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations. I have a simple question for you, and here it is. Whither CW? In ham radio, I can recall when the CW subbands were actually as large as or larger than the so-called phone subbands, single sideband and AM, on the high frequencies. That is, for our purposes, 1.8 through 30 megahertz. Technically, the HF spectrum extends from 3 to 30 megahertz, and back in the day, those included the 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meter bands, and 160 meters, which is technically in the medium frequency range, was sometimes considered part of that range too. But I think for now we'll just stick to the 80 through 10 meter bands. Back then we did not have any 17 or 60 or 12 or 30 meter bands. Just 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. There were CW subbands and there were phone subbands. And when I was first licensed, the general class license conveyed all amateur privileges, and the advanced didn't even exist for new licensees. A few old licensees still had the old advanced license. And then the extra class was just that, extra. If you wanted some extra status, you went for that one. But few people did because there was no incentive licensing. That came about in the late 1960s and met with mixed popularity. But the CW subbands were disproportionately large in comparison to the bandwidth of a CW signal, by comparison to the bandwidth of a phone signal. That's all changed now, although some would say not enough, and some might even say that CW is on its way towards obsolescence. You no longer have to know the Morse code in order to get an amateur radio license, and the day may come when Morse code subbands won't even exist. Maybe. Do you think that will ever happen? What do you think is going to become of this popular and yet increasingly antiquated mode? It's my favorite. If you know me at all, you know that. I am a CW hound. But how many of us will be left in 20 years or 40 years? Or will ham radios still even exist? What do you think is going to happen to CW in coming decades? Do you think it's going to remain popular even among some newbies to ham radio, or do you think it's just going to become such a relic that nobody cares about it anymore, and it's sort of like an old soldier, just fades away? Comments are open. Stan Gibilisco signing off, saying 73 and so long, which, in my native fist, still translates to da-da-da-da-da-da.